Hey there, my name is Chris Acton with Acton Creative, and this is a handwoven experience. And today's episode is coming to you from the very glamorous utility room at the Acton household, because our topic is washing and drying your handwoven items. So let's start with the big philosophical question, shall we? Do you have to wet finish every item that comes off of your loom? Now, you can ask 5 different weavers and get 5 different variations on an answer to that question. So if you already have a philosophy about wet finishing your fabric, great friends, you do your thing. That is no problem. However, if you are just starting out and you need a strategy, you need some ideas for this process, I've got you covered. For me, personally, I don't think you have to wet finish everything. Nope, no, I don't. And with 19 years of experience under my belt, is worked out well for me thus far. So here are the places that I do choose to wet finish, or wash and dry in my case, and don't. I will always wash and dry an item that is going to be near food or near skin a lot, right? Towels, table runners, scarves, anything that's going to be in a situation where it gets spilled on or sweat on. That's basically, if I'm making those items, absolutely, I make sure they go through the washer and dryer. If it is something else, if it is a handbag, if it is a wall hanging, I don't worry about that, because in those instances, I am probably combining a lot of fibers together, and I don't know how they're going to react as they go through the washer and dryer from a shrinkage perspective and also from a bleeding perspective, right? So that is my kind of 2 cents on when to wash and dry and when not to. By the way, I have found that a dry cleaner does a beautiful job with any fabric. You bring them with multiple fibers. So if you do have a handbag that has a big old ink stain, take it to the dry cleaner, talk to them. They'll probably be able to work a miracle. So let's talk about the actual logistics of washing your fabric. Now, I like to take my item, or if I have a couple items, that's good too, have it as its own load, wash it in cold with regular detergent. I don't use anything special. I do, however, always add a Shout color catcher. Now, this video is not endorsed by Shout color catcher or any of that, but I love this product and it works miracles. If you aren't familiar, here's what it does. You have looks like a dryer sheet, it's stiffer, and its job is to absorb any loose dye that's in the water. This is brilliant because your red and white striped project, then it keeps it from becoming a red and pink striped project, right? You've all been there at some point where the yarn has had extra dye to release into the water and it ends up on your project somewhere. So in order to avoid that, I like to use 1, sometimes 2 sheets of the Shout color catcher. If I'm using reds, purples, those are all a little more risky, I would say. So a regular load, friends, regular detergent, everything else is just as you would you're washing a load of jeans. So let's talk about the dryer then. As you take it out of the washing machine, I like to make sure things aren't tangled. And just as a note, before it goes into the wash, make sure that your yarns aren't going to be moving around a lot. Make sure you have finished edges. There's like knots to hold everything together. You don't want things to start to undo the work that you've already been doing. So just make sure it's in good shape before it goes in the wash. So back to the dryer. So when it goes into the dryer, my goal is always to dry items to about 75%. I don't want it to be completely dry. And here's why. I have found that if I just let it rip on high, let it go, there are times that it can heat set wrinkles and lines into the fabric. And I would rather catch it before that happens. So I like to take it out when it's a little bit damp. Once it comes out, I'll either lay it flat somewhere or I'll roll it so that as the last bit of moisture evaporates, the yarns kind of relax, and it hopefully keeps me from having to iron stuff, because I don't love that. So as it comes out of your dryer, then lay it out, roll it, do something so that it can kind of dry the rest of the way, and you have lovely, fluffy, gorgeous fabric to choose from there. Now, just as a note, I think it's a good idea always to really get to know your fiber, whether you're using cotton or linen or tencel or whatever it is. I think it's a great idea to pay attention to how it reacts when it goes through the washer and dryer. Here is case in point. I love a cotton, A4 cotton, carpet warp, rug warp, whatever you want to call it. But what I know about my fiber is that it doesn't hold its shape when it goes through the washer and dryer, right? It doesn't have nice ends. It all gets kind of feathery and soft, which is not typically a look. I think it seems kind of unfinished. So it's not my favorite. So I know that if I am working with my favorite fiber here, that I'm ultimately going to plan for hems or something that looks neater as it goes through this process. So just pay attention to what does your yarn do when it goes through the washer and dryer. Does it keep its shape, which means you could do all kinds of great fringe, or not so much, like my kind of cotton. So just kind of keep that in your overall strategy for how you are treating your items as they go through the washer and the dryer. Honestly, friends, there's not a lot of tricks and tips to go with it. You treat it just like you would clothes. However, just a few little exceptions, right? You can do it. All right. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have ideas about things that you do differently in your strategy for washing and drying your hand woven items. All right. Have a wonderful week. Happy weaving.